It's your boy Jit Irrational. Look, man, video footage have finally been released. You've probably already seen it on TikTok, social media, whatnot. It's been on the news surrounding Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf regarding what happened around the tent area. So we're gonna take a look. We're gonna watch it all the way through. Now this one is titled "Video Evidence Released in Karmelo Anthony Murder Case." We're gonna watch this all the way through before we say anything.
Getting our first look at some of the evidence shown in court before Karmelo Anthony was sentenced in the murder of Austin Metcalf earlier this month. No cameras were allowed as the trial played out, meaning this is the first time the public is getting a look. We should warn you, what you are about to see and hear is graphic. Here's NBC5's Ali Spilliards.
I need paramedics at Kirkendall Stadium right away.
Okay, what's going on?
I have an athlete that was stabbed.
Evidence released Friday details the moments when a Frisco track meet devolved into a crime scene.
My friend's bleeding everywhere.
The 911 calls and security footage were presented to Collin County jurors before they found Karmelo Anthony guilty of first-degree murder in the death of Austin Metcalf. Investigators say it began with a confrontation when Anthony, a Centennial High School student, was sitting under Memorial High School's tent and Metcalf told him to leave. The video, which we have not altered in any way, shows a brief burst of action under the tent. Jurors then saw Anthony highlighted in the video running away. Body camera footage from two officers shows Anthony's arrest.
It's the alleged suspect.
Okay. I am. No, I'm not. I know how it goes. I'm not alleged.
Okay. Memorial tent over there, guys. All right.
You heard what he said. He's crying.
He put his hands on me.
The evidence included photos of the crime scene and the knife that prosecutors say Anthony used in the fatal stabbing.
We're doing compressions and giving him mouth-to-mouth.
911 calls shared in court detailed the desperate attempt to save Metcalf.
Fight through, baby. Fight through, Austin. Come on. Oh, you're doing good, Austin.
But in the end, family said the 17-year-old died in his twin brother's arms. Anthony was sentenced to 35 years in prison.
One day after the verdict, Anthony's defense filed a motion saying he will appeal.
All right, that was that. First of all, that's not the first one that I initially seen. I seen like it. First of all, it wasn't blurred out, right? It showed kind of what was going on, or like it showed images of people or whatever in the video. It wasn't like a censored blur. And the full clip shows him there for a little second. Somebody falls backwards a little bit. It probably was Austin. And then he goes up because the camera is facing where they are, right? He goes up the tent or like where the bleachers are. Then he goes down the bleachers and runs, right? It shows him running for like a little short period of time. People start to like kind of like chase after him a little bit. Then he slows down. And then he just walks. And then that's probably at the end where the cops had stopped him or whatever. And then that's what he was saying, like, if you probably already heard, I'm not alleged, I did it, it was me. He said it was him, right? And then you saw him start crying. Now we finna look at like other angles real quick. All right, looks like this one's showing him walking out of the tunnel through the bleachers, up the bleachers, and then he goes where the tents are at and he's walking. But even this angle doesn't show him going up to the tent where the M tent is at, where, you know, Austin M is at, right? And you really can't see too much. Come on now, y'all gotta have better angles with the cameras than this, bro, to zoom in or something to get close, to get some HD footage, but that's neither here or there. You really can't point out or pinpoint out what's going on for real, like literally, like the actions of what's going on or how everybody's looking. There's a brief pause between what's going on. People are surrounding. Now there could be some where they did kind of like surround him a little bit. Not saying that they tried to do whatever they was doing. You see him, he goes up, look, he runs, look, he's running. Boy, that boy running fast, boy. And you see, look, somebody points and then two people are chasing and the other people are running. right? And then he slows down. Look, he slows down. And they're following him. They're following him. This is where, like, I'm assuming the cops came or whatever, or he was probably... See, look, he goes back on the track. Hold on. Interesting. I'm not sure if that's the police stopping him or just a regular person. I'm not so sure, but a lot of people are running now. Because I'm pretty sure people are probably screaming or like yelling. So people are leaving the field and all that. Now, the cops couldn't have came that fast unless it was like on campus cops already. Right? And they probably got the call because they're highlighting Karmelo. I believe Karmelo's in the gray. Man, this is crazy, bruh. So we see that, right? We basically get the gist of what happened if you haven't already seen it, right? That's the gist of what happened, right? Like, again, some people are like, oh, no, they were finna jump him or they were surrounding him and all that. You really can't tell in this footage right here, right? And that's the sucky thing about this type of footage. You can't really see what's going on. Alright, this is some of the video cam body footage that was released. This is not the full thing. TMZ also released it too, but I'm adding this in here because so y'all can hear this lady's POV of what she thinks.
Alright.
He put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me. Hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me.
Let's see. Hold on one second.
He's gonna be okay.
I don't know yet, man. Karmelo.
That sounds like self-defense to me, sweetheart. Clear as fucking day. He touched me. I told him not to touch me, okay? He put his hands on me. I told him not to. Touch me and see what happens in the black community is a warning that you have crossed the boundary into my personal space. And if you don't remove yourself from my personal space, somebody is liable to get hurt. That is not a threat. That is a warning. And you know why white folks don't understand that warning is because they're usually the ones giving the threat. That's why the prosecution said that was a threat. He made a threat. He made a threat. He made a threat towards Austin Metcalf. No, Austin Metcalf did not know what a boundary was. Like most 3x5 cards. Y'all don't know boundaries, okay? This needs to go back in. We need another trial, okay, baby? Because this shit, no. With the judge abruptly trying to fucking leave. With Austin Metcalf's dad getting on the internet and calling Karmelo Anthony a watermelon felon, an all-white jury.
You heard what she said,
No.
right? Because she thinks she know everything, right? Anything and everything. She talking about when black people say this in the community, that is a warning, not a threat. First of all, what if it's two black people arguing, right? That's a threat and a warning. What are you talking about? That can't be a threat. I get what she's saying, and like, as in like literally saying, touch me and see what happens. Like, you're warning somebody, hey, if you touch me, you're going to see what happens, right? I get it, but that can be taken as a threat as well. Like, are you threatening me? I get what she's saying because certain white people who play Karens, they'll be like, is that a threat? Is that a threat? When you really didn't even say nothing. You know what I mean? Like, you could literally say, leave me alone to a Karen, right? And they'll be like, what does that mean? Leave you alone or what? All you said was leave you alone. But this is not one of them cases at all. Even in the black community, if people are fighting at a basketball court, right? Two dudes, right? You know how men can be with their egos. Somebody say something like that, you know what I mean? They get into it, you know, and they're finna fight, like, with their fists, and one person pull out a knife. Does that make that right? Does it make it right? I want y'all to answer that. If you black, does that make it right? What if those were one of your kids, right? You know what I mean? And for a lot of people, y'all, what y'all say, no matter the race, boys will be boys, right? Boys being boys. You know what I'm saying? What do boys do? They fight. They got egos. They tussle around, right? Would you rather want your son get into a regular fist fight or getting stabbed or him stabbing somebody? Let's be so for real. Let's be so for real. Do y'all know? Do y'all not know how self-defense laws work? You know what I'm saying? You cannot simply because somebody pushes you or whatever. Because again, we really couldn't see what was happening in the footage, right? It wasn't up close and personal, so we couldn't see every single thing. It wasn't in HD. If Austin indeed pushed him or whatever, or touched him, that does not give you the right to then pull out a little knife and then stab somebody and kill them. Do y'all not know how this stuff works?
Simply look up the law of self-defense. This is what Google says. The legal doctrine of self-defense justifies using force to protect against an imminent, unlawful threat of injury, death, or forcible felony. To successfully claim self-defense in court, 5 core elements must be met, and these are the 5 core elements. All right, you can read this for yourself. All right.
And then she says, normally it's the white people giving out threats, like black. This is so baffling to me. This is so baffling. So it's all the time that white people are the ones who are threatening black people all the freaking time, right? For the most part. If it's an argument between black and white people, it's always the white person giving the threat, right? What type of world do we live in, bro? I hate when people generalize stuff. I get it. You know, white people have done a lot throughout the years. I understand it. Even if you go back to the 90s, I understand it. Rodney King, all this stuff, I understand this, right? So therefore, people who are black now, right, even if they haven't experienced the trauma that people from the past who are black have experienced, they live with these thoughts in their brain as if it can happen to them, right? I saw this one person say, it was a white dude, he probably was woke. He said there's a difference between a black person not liking white people versus a white person not liking black people. The white person that doesn't like black people, that's for no reason at all, right? Because they're racist. But a black person not liking white people is because of the systemic racial issues and things that's happened in the past. I can understand that, right? But y'all cannot see every situation that involves a white and black person and automatically go, oh, the white person's racist. Oh, the system is racist. Oh, the judge is racist. Oh, the jury was racist. When indeed there were black people in the jury, but they removed some of the black people that was in the jury because they proceeded to say, oh, they're biased. Do y'all not do research on this? Or do y'all not care to because y'all want to hear and choose what y'all want to hear? It makes no sense, bro. But back to what I said about the white people are always doing the threat, right? What about all the stuff that goes on within the black community? Somebody gonna be like, oh, you shitting on the black community and all that. That makes no sense. A lot of things that happen in the black community is our fault when it comes to certain things. Gang on gang violence. You can't even fight nowadays without somebody pulling out a gun. You know, don't nobody want to fight fair. If you get embarrassed or something, or you get your butt whooped, somebody go get a gun or something, and then they shooting up everything. Then what? You go to a function, somebody got a gun at a club or something like that. It's a good thing for me. I don't go to clubs and all these functions like that, so I stay out the way. But still, those things do happen. So when those things happen, do you blame the white man for that too? Or what? When your son go to the club or something, you know what I mean, with his homeboys or whatever, and get into a scuffle or something, and then the other people who got into a scuffle with him, they pull out a gun on him and then they shoot him. What then? Are you blaming the white man for that, or what are you doing? What if that other guy said, oh, that was self-defense? You can't just simply pull out a gun and shoot somebody because they push you or something and then pow, pow, pow. That's not how they work. Even with gun laws, there's a reason why with shotguns or certain guns, they have the barrels that are like non-lethal that you put in first before you put in the regular shells. Somebody, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody let me know who know about guns. You know, you have to give off the warning shots before you actually shoot somebody. If they were to break into your crib, you can't just pow pow, because if you do that, correct me if I'm wrong, you could get charged for that or go to jail or whatever. You know what I'm saying? These are things people don't understand. Some people probably like, oh, if I buy a gun, I can do what I want. If you touch me, pow pow pow. That's not how that works, goofy. Right? So therefore, in this case, just because you got a weapon and then somebody touch you or surround you or push you, they don't give you the right to just pow, or stab him or whatever. You can't do that. That's not how things work. That's not how self-defense laws work, people. Oh my gosh. Jesus. This ain't nothing about no black and white or he's a coon, you're a coon. It ain't none of that, bro. I would do the same thing, or people who are trying to be rational about this, they will do the same thing if this is a black on black or a white on white. Let's be so for real. But y'all are turning this into something else, bro. It's so annoying. Now, we done seen the footage. We done seen the POV of a lady who still thinks from what she saw is, you know, self-defense. And the reason I added that in there, even if you think it's self-defense still, her take on why it's self-defense is simply because he's saying and crying, oh, he did this to me, he touched me, I told him not to touch me, whatever, right? That's not a good case of why you think it's self-defense. Now, I found another video, right? Which will be a better explanation because they're going off of the footage of why they would think it's self-defense. Now let's hear their POV, and y'all can leave your comment down below on what y'all think of it, right?
The boy was in fear for his life.
He put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me. He put his hands on me.
You can see in the video where the 6 boys were on their way over to where the tent was. And as you can see, all 6 of those boys went straight up to where Karmelo was sitting inside of that tent, which is exactly what the witnesses stated when they said they saw the original video. Now, why didn't they say that in the court hearing about the 6 boys that walked up to Karmelo Anthony? Now, as you can see here, they've all surrounded Karmelo at this point, which is probably very intimidating to have 6 boys surrounding you. Now, if you just continue to watch right here, you'll start to see that there is some...
I don't know which is which, but you can clearly see...
Before this continues, I'll say this, though. That would be a very fair point, right? That could be the case if they were to prove that was to be the case, right? I'm not here to be like, no, that's not true, no, that's not true. But listen, what if it's a group of boys who were going to their specific tent, not knowing that Karmelo was there? So they're there. They're looking at what's going on. And what's his name? Austin, who's probably the leader or whatever the crap he's supposed to be, because they said he was supposed to be in charge of the tent or whatever the case may be. Austin's the one whoever was talking to him. Everybody else just looking like, hey, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? They don't necessarily mean that they were all doing that. Now, like I said, I wish they had better footage. When you have good, undeniable footage, that's when everything can be explained. But let's keep going.
The first arrow you're gonna see, I would say is Hunter, because he wasn't the one that pushed, but you're gonna see him kind of like grab something and go in like right under the arrow. Just watch. It's gonna be like aggressive, like you can tell he grabbed something. See, he grabbed it. Then you're gonna see Austin punch or push in just a second. And then he's going to make one more movement towards Karmelo, and then boom. See, right there? Right there.
Karmelo runs up there?
Karmelo runs. You clearly see.
Thank God he was able to do something. Okay, if it was a white boy being jumped by 6 black boys, they would call him a hero. This boy was being attacked. Stand your ground, self-defense. They did the case fast. They made sure they had no black jurors. They make sure they didn't have evidence. Karmelo will be set free. There are about to be a lot of situations happening in America right now.
Ma'am, first of all, he didn't get jumped. You saw, like that other lady pointed out, what did she say? She said Austin, you would see Austin either push him or shove him, right? When this whole thing came out, I was like, yeah, he probably did push him with something, right? But they probably didn't add that in there, whether it's because nobody didn't say nothing or they didn't have the evidence to say that, right? So when things like this happen, they're not going to add in there that, oh yeah, Austin pushed him or something like that, when indeed it looked like somebody did put his hands on them. So now, if you watching this, you cannot deny, no matter if it wasn't Austin or whoever, you can't deny that somebody put their hands on him. You can't say that. You can't say, no, that didn't happen. You clearly see out of that footage that somebody put their hands on Karmelo, and it was most likely Austin, right? We can agree to that, right? And if you don't, whatever. But for her, the lady in the red, to say they jumped him, you didn't see 6 boys all attack him at once. You saw one person, which was most likely Austin, put their hands on him, right? Push him or whatever, right? After he got pushed, you didn't see nobody else rushing in, because at that time, Karmelo did what he did, right? But even with that push, you still cannot just stab somebody. It's going to be consequences. You can't stab nobody. You can't. What did y'all expect to happen? I'm not gonna lie though. Off of a push, that is not a threat to your life. If you get pushed, people. Austin was in the wrong for pushing, right? You can say that, right? I don't know what was said before that, but it looked like Austin put his hands on him first, at least from that footage, right? Okay. But even with that push, or whatever he did, you cannot stab somebody. Oh my God. Man. All right, man, we're gonna show one last clip, and we're gonna like basically end it off here. Let's see what this man is saying.
Everyone has an opinion. Here's mine. Now that the Karmelo Anthony trial has concluded, we've had the opportunity to hear from both the Metcalf family as well as the Anthony family. And wherever your opinions lie, either way, about which side you feel was in the right here, what can't be argued is this mysterious tape. Was there a tape that showed Austin and Hunter and others actually jumping Karmelo? Was Karmelo really in danger to the point where he feared for his life? A lot of those questions were needing to be answered, and because of the lack of transparency during the trial, it was unable to happen until recently when Judge Roach had officially released the video footage in question. It's my business. All of these black people who come out and support Karmelo Anthony were mainly hanging their hats on the fact that this action was justified because he was being jumped by multiple people, and he needed to defend himself. Well,
where you going?
The tape isn't crystal clear about a lot of things, but one thing I think it is pretty crystal clear about, and that's Karmelo was not jumped.
What?
Not at any point was Karmelo jumped. Not at any point was Karmelo's life in danger. Not at any point did Karmelo face grave or imminent danger. In the video, you see Karmelo, you see Austin, and then you see what seems to be something that happens under the tent, but it doesn't look like it's 4 or 5 guys attacking a guy. Looks like a quick altercation, and then you see Karmelo fleeing from the back of the tent. Also, why was Karmelo at the tent in the first place? We were all being led to believe that it was raining. The rain was so unbearable that he had to go under the tent to seek shelter.
See, I didn't hear that part. I didn't know that part. People were saying that part.
Clearly, that was not the case. So again, these were lies created by the black community because, let's face it, black folks hate white people.
No.
Not all.
Right.
Not all.
Right.
There's a lot of black folks that really enjoy the company of all races of people and don't have any hatred or bigotry in their heart whatsoever.
Right.
I'd like to think I'm one of those people.
Same.
But throughout my experiences on Earth and living here in the United States of America, in multiple states, by the way, I can absolutely confirm the hatred and the vitriol that exists for the white community.
Of course.
You can say that we feel like a debt needs to be paid. You can feel like it's retribution, or you can just call it the green-eyed monster of jealousy. Maybe it's we hate the way that you guys have taken this country and made it the best country in the world, without help, obviously, but how you guys have reaped the benefits from this being the best country on earth, and while we felt like we've been given table scraps. Now, I'm not saying that that's the case or it's not the case, but that speaks to how this was able to get off of the rails so quickly, because nothing about this case was ever racial at any point. There was never any racial commentary from either Karmelo or Austin. This was an altercation.
Nobody said anything about the N-word being said, or nothing about what Karmelo verbally said about Austin or any of them. So
that went left between boys who, whatever they had on their mind, however they chose to deal with it, we can argue about whether it was appropriate or not, but bottom line is, what can't be argued, this was not a racist thing. So now that we have that debunked, we have the rain thing debunked, we have the jumping thing debunked, that leaves us with the knife thing. Now we were able to clearly see the murder weapon, which was a 4-inch blade, a knife, an actual knife. Now you've been hearing from the black community that it was a cleat sharpener. You're hearing that it's a tool, and you're trying to hear anything that they can come up with to explain away the reasoning of this boy having a knife at a track meet. And
this is the same people who don't do research and realize that there were black people on the jury at first. Y'all don't want to hear that. Y'all want to focus on, oh, it was a white jury, they're racist, blah, blah, blah. Y'all don't like to do research. Y'all just jump to conclusions. Let's continue.
Not only did he have the knife at the track meet, but he was willing and prepared to use the knife at that track meet. Like I said, anytime that there's something to do with white people doing something negative to black folks, unaliving a black person or vice versa, it's always going to draw this type of reaction, especially from the low IQ black folks out there who really hang their hat on being racist, even though they'll tell you that black folks can't.
And also, to be fair, the low IQ white people try to be all woke and all that and try to defend the black man because they feel guilty, or they just simply think, oh, you know, the white blonde man, the white man is the devil when you're white too. Anyways.
Can't be racist. And then out of their same mouths say some of the most horrific, racially charged things that you could possibly imagine.
Karmelo Anthony spoke out about the footage. Austin Metcalf's father, his family, they spoke out about the footage, right? This is what Karmelo Anthony's family said.
I haven't seen that video. What did that video show?
The video showed, honestly, you can show that you can see him coming into the tent, sitting down, and then it's like, it started getting a little, like you couldn't tell the people. But you know, we're experts. Let me tell you what the DA did. They put a spotlight on the boys, right? So you could see them, right? But they never put a spotlight on Karmelo.
What video did Karmelo's father see? Because from what I showed, they clearly highlighted Karmelo. What is he talking about?
And the reason why is because, of course, they was trying to make their side look like, oh, it wasn't that bag of push. The whole thing moved. Even the guy EP said in his statement, it was so bad to where it pushed him out the way. Because he's some pretty big kids. Mm-hmm. They're real big. They're bigger than me, actually.
Now, I couldn't find any video of Austin's father speaking out on the body cam footage that just came out, but here's him speaking on the black jurors a while back.
Oh, there was no black jurors. You know why? Because you can't be unbiased, you dumb shit. If you answer the question, I can't send a black man to jail because he's black, you're not getting on the jury. You're so unintelligent, you can't even fill out a form correctly. You don't even know who your daddy is because 78% of you don't have your father in the home anymore. You got baby mamas running around with 8 kids so they can get EBT cards to feed you all. You think I'm being racist? No, I'm being real. Because it ain't only black people. White people do the same shit. I'll call them out just as hard as I'll call you out. Anybody who doesn't work, who wants free government handouts, who wants to live in a socialistic society, move to Russia. And normally, I don't normally attack people like this, but I have been cooped up and caged up in this anger. And this is something I'm trying to work on. I need to develop it and funnel it into a more constructive way. But tonight is the one time I'm going to allow myself. It's okay.
Also, he said something about why there were no black people on the jury, right? And he kind of went in, right? And some people going to say, oh, this is racist. But they're going to ignore the fact that he said the same thing about white people. He said white people are the same as well. White people do the same stuff. White people do the same thing. But simply because he said it about black people, even though he added white people do it too, the first part they're going to hear is what he said about the black people and not what he said about the white people. That's how the world works. If I make a video right now talking about how men need to be held accountable for being deadbeat fathers and be present in their kids' life and stop sleeping around with multiple girls, right? It'll be girls in the comments like, oh yeah, oh, we need more men like you to speak up on this. But in that same video, if I add on, but women, they need to stop being thoughts and hoes and all this stuff and sleeping around and doing OF and showing off their booty on social media all the time. They're not going to hear the first part that I said about the men. They're going to hear what I said about the women because they're going to think I'm misogynistic. They're going to think that I don't like women. Oh, you got a problem with women doing what they want to do. They can't sexually express themselves freely and all. They're going to focus on what I said about the women because I'm a man, right? And they're focusing on what he's saying about the black men or black people because he's white. Even though he said what he said about white people do the same exact thing. That's the problem with us, bro. That's the problem with a lot of human beings, bro. I'm gonna end it here, man. What y'all think about this whole situation? Do you still think that Karmelo is innocent? Or do you think now, well, dang, this kind of proved that he isn't? You know what I'm saying? Or Are you thinking, well, let me examine more, let me do more research, let me just pay attention to things? What is your thoughts on this? Leave a comment down below. Like, subscribe, click the notification bell. We out.
You telling me a grainy video is shown to jurors, but it was shown in 4K clear to the people that witnessed it? No witness on that stand had that little man's back. None, 0 out of 21 people being questioned? Come on, man, I'm done with all of that. I feel the same way about white people, the same way they feel about my people. Yeah, try one of us.
Sounds like somebody needs a nap, because I completely understand how it feels to be so tired, but then to misdirect all of my frustration in the wrong direction. It sounds like so many people are running away from accountability as well as responsibility rather than running to it, taking it, reevaluating our community and our boys' influence, and teaching them the right thing rather than teaching them to always be victims. We glorify YNs, we glorify anger, we glorify unforgiveness and hatred, and then get mad when the system judges you based on your actions with all of that that's built up in your heart. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil. You judge according to favoritism, which is in and of itself sin. Your hatred is blinding you, and through it you are conceiving a generation of black boys to only go to jail, never amounting to anything.